Hello, hello. So I'm back with another unboxing, this time from BENU. So the lovely people over at BENU sent me this wonderful pen to share with you guys. So I don't want to keep you waiting, so let's unbox it and we'll take a look at it together. I haven't actually opened it yet, so I've been waiting for a good time to film so that I could open it up and take a look. So this is... Oh, my box is a little squished and it's hard to get it. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, it's beautiful. This is the Golden Beach Euphoria model and it is absolutely stunning. It's exactly the color that I thought it was going to be. So the color is really kind of hard to explain. I'm not sure if it's going to show up that well on camera, but in person it is definitely more of sort of like a creme brulee color. It's definitely not like a super yellowy yellow. It's very hard to explain. I hope it shows up a little bit on camera. I'll try and color correct it as much as I can. So they've used a couple of different resins on here. They have this transparent sort of golden yellow up here with a little bit of a warm hue to it. And then they have the matching creamy resin here, which is semi-opaque. You can kind of see the nib through there just a little bit. And I love that they put gold hardware on this. This is just so classy. It goes so well with the color of the foiling in here. These are a little bit smaller, these little chunks in here, than on the transparent parts. But up the top here, we have the finial that has the same gold flakes that are in the milky resin. But then in this transparent part, in the cap, oh gosh, and this is beautiful too. The section and the cap have bigger pieces of foil. They aren't broken up as much, so it has these big pieces of gold foil in there. So another really interesting and sort of beautiful aspect of this pen is the layering on the cap band here. So as you can see, it's a transparent cap band with the gold foil in it, but you can see the layer underneath, which is actually the section, which is transparent also, so you can see it as I'm turning. I just think that was a really thoughtful sort of way to craft this pen, and you know, it's just sort of fun when you're opening it to see that layer going underneath, kind of like looking through the water and seeing, you know, stuff on the ocean floor or the sand or things like that. So I just thought that was really quite thoughtful design as well. Oh gosh, it's just stunning. And I think the darkness that you can see in there is the converter, like the bottom of the converter coming through. So let's open that up and have a look. Yeah, so you can kind of see that moving in the resin. So it's sort of, I would say it's semi-opaque rather than semi-translucent. But again, in spots, it's a little bit more translucent than others. And this has a Schmidt converter, and I got this nib in a fine nib. I love their Schmidt nibs. I think they do have some Yovo offerings now, but for me, I got the Schmidt fine nib. And what really caught my eye with this is that it's, I mean, it's glitzy, it's BENU, but it still has a like subtle classiness to it. And I think it would appeal to a lot of people just to have that bit of glitz in there, but not over the top. So for example, take my BENU Astro Gem here. So this is in Juno, and this is, I mean, this is cray cray town. This is bright, bright, bright colors. It still has, you know, the glitz, but I think this colorway of the Golden Beach just sort of tones it down a little bit and may make it a bit more accessible to people that don't really want all the glitz and glam. I mean, I remember when I got my first BENU, which was the Gold Coast BENU. This is a collaboration with Atlas. As I'm recording this video, they just released another run of this over on their website, so you may still be able to grab one. This, I mean, this is crazy. This is over the top. This has so many colors. It has the sort of iridescent sparkle in there as well. Yeah, so I'm super excited about this colorway. I am so glad that it is the colors that I thought it would be. Some photos, like I said, are a little different depending on lighting, but this is definitely very warm. It's almost a little peachy. It's just so beautiful. So let's get out a couple of other pens just as a quick size comparison, and then we'll get on to picking an ink for this beautiful pen. Okay, so here we have it next to an Esterbrook SD and a TWSBI Eco. So you can see that the Euphoria model is a little bigger than both of these, just a smidge bigger than the Esterbrook SD. Let's open them up so that you can see the length of the pen itself. Okay, so as you can see here, the Esterbrook SD is quite a lot shorter when the caps are off. The Eco is almost the same size in the actual pen body, but the nib is a lot smaller, so you're getting a little bit of a distance there. And let's just take a look at the grip sections on these. So the grip section for the Euphoria and the TWSBI, I would say that the Euphoria is just a little bit bigger, but quite similar. And for the SD is a little chunkier. So if you are very comfortable with the SD, the Euphoria may be a little thin for you. I find them both very comfortable. I have no issue with either of them. The section is quite long on the Euphoria and I find it really comfortable. It's one of my favorite pens, as is the SD. So let me grab a couple of my Maker pens just so we can compare that too. So I just grabbed my Bone Crusher 7 Studios pen in the Velma model, and also my Papa J in the Floral Finial model. And you can see that it is very comparable in length to the Bone Crusher, and the Papa J is a little bit shorter. Let's uncap them and see. Okay, so we can see that the Bone Crusher 7 is a very similar length to the Euphoria, and the Papa J is a little bit shorter. As you can see, it is a little bit sort of bigger in the grip section and it has this slight flare. The Euphoria is a little thinner. It does have a flare too, but not as pronounced. So I find both the Euphoria and the Bone Crusher 7 very comfortable pens. So that's a little bit of a size comparison. Let me go grab some ink samples. I need to have a look through my collection and see what I think would go well with this pen, and then we will ink it up. Okay, so I went through my collection and I picked a little selection of colors. When I go and pick colors, I tend to pick like a rainbow of colors because I'm not 100% sure what I want to put in the pen. So instead of picking just sort of golds that go with this, I like to pick contrasting colors and other ones that might be interesting. So for this one, I kind of went for a slightly muted, kind of desaturated or pastel color palette here to choose from. So let's go through and have a look at the ones that I chose. So the first one I have here is Dominant Industry November Leaves. Now this is a very light ink. I've had it in a couple of pens and it writes slightly illegibly, but Schmidt nibs in BENUs write particularly wet for me. So even though this is a fine, it may be able to use this ink and it might be really cool. And I think the color is perfect. It's a really good match for this wheat sort of creme brulee color of the resin. Not so much the vibrant sort of yellow gold, but definitely the resin on the pen. Then we have Ferris Wheel Press Russet Typecase, which is sort of an orange leaning sort of rust color, which I think sort of bridges the gap between the two colors here. We have a bit of vibrancy for the yellow gold, and then we have that sort of subtle shading for the resin of the body. Then we have Diamine Masquerade, which I think is just a beautiful sort of contrasting color with this. It just sort of feels like a match to me. I don't know if it's just because of the softness of the color, and the shimmer is a gold too, so I think that would go really lovely with it. Then we have Robert Oster Viola, which is a little more vibrant, but again sort of a contrast to the yellow in here. I think it would be quite lovely. It does have a little bit of blue in the shading, which I think would go nice as well. Then we have a more sort of toned down sort of subtle version of that, which is the Birmingham Pen Co. Pennsylvania Fieldstone. And I think this one is just a really nice sort of classy subdued color. I've always loved Pennsylvania Fieldstone. It's definitely a fan favorite. I think it's looking a little bit gray on camera, but it definitely has a pink, sort of pinky purple hue to it, which contrasts well with the yellow of the pen. Then we have Birmingham Pen Co. Eroded Bronze, which is sort of maybe a nod to the water with this golden sands, sort of a complement of that color. Again, it has a bit of purple in it, which I think goes really well as a contrast with the gold and the yellow. And then we have Sailor Yurameku Itezora, which is a green, but it also has some sort of purpley pink in it as well, depending on what paper you're writing on, of course. But I just think this is quite beautiful. It's sort of a subtle color, just like the resin in the pen here. I just think it's, I don't know, it just looked really nice when I was looking through and holding the pen up. I thought this was a really nice complement to this color of the pen. So let me choose one and I will ink it up and we'll come back and do a writing test. Okay, so as you probably saw, I inked it up with Sailor Yurameku Itezora. And let's see how it writes. So this is the BENU. This has quite a lot of feedback. Let's see. BENU Euphoria, and this is the Golden Beach. And it has a gold trim, which is kind of unusual actually. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the beginning. Most of the other pens that I have, all the Euphorias, have silver trim. So this is my first gold trim one. And it has I think it's a number 6 Schmidt nib. How do you spell Schmidt? Is it CH or HC? Yeah, this is doesn't seem as wet as my other Euphorias. We'll have a look in a minute, but maybe it's the ink. But we are getting some really nice shading from this ink. And speaking of the ink is Sailor Yurameku. Itezora. Yeah, it's it seems like it's writing wet. We're getting some shading, but it just feels a little different to my other fine nibs. Oh, I forgot to say Schmidt nib fine. But let's just do some strokes here. So we have some downstrokes. So the downstrokes seem a little wetter, and you can definitely hear it on the page. And we'll just do some figure eights. Yeah, it's just giving a little bit more feedback than I usually get. And again, that could be with the ink, just depending on how wet the ink is. Let's play around. Let's just do some lines here. And I'm going to grab my other BENUs and we'll take a look. Okay, so that one is the Golden Beach. This one is my Earl Grey tea with also a fine nib. Whoa, much, much wetter. So this is the Earl Grey tea. And this one has Aussie Brown. So this is a lot wetter. It still has that, you can still hear it when I'm writing, but I'm wondering if it's just the ink. And then let's see, this one is going to be wet too. This one, super wet. This is my Gold Coast. This is, I think, even wetter than the Earl Grey. And this is Ice Rink. This is a Birmingham Pen Co. ink. So I am thinking, because I can still kind of hear the feedback on all three of these, I'm thinking it is probably the ink. So yeah, if you guys want to let me know in the comments if you know if this is kind of a dry ink. I feel like it's behaving a little differently to my other two, but these are both really wet inks, so maybe this is just a normal ink. But yeah, it definitely writes a little bit different, but still really lovely, and we're getting a lot of shading. which is really beautiful. You can see it in this golden beach up here in the BENU Euphoria. Yeah, so I think it's a beautiful ink, and I think it goes really well with this pen. Overall, I think it's a beautiful pen by BENU. I am really impressed actually with a lot of their pens that they're bringing out right now. They just seem like really thoughtful sort of resin mixes. They all pretty much have the glitz and glam that they always do as for BENUs, but you know, that's part of their branding. But I think they have really come out with some kind of more subtle mixes, like this sort of being a monotone sort of pen. I think it just tones it down a little bit. So if you're afraid of all of this color, for example, this pen is just such a lovely choice, and it's really classy. I can see it being used like as a wedding pen or as a graduation gift or something like that. Like it's just, I think, a little bit more maybe accessible, this colorway. So I was really interested to see it up close, and I just wanted to give a shout out to BENU again for being so generous and sending this my way to test out and share with you guys. I think it's absolutely stunning, and I'm looking forward to more beautiful creations from them. They seem to be hitting it out of the park right now with all of their new innovative designs, actually in pen shapes as well as the different resins they're using. I will put a link to their site down below. I think they're maybe still on vacation right now, so you might not be able to place an order there, but they're available at Atlas Stationers and Goldspot and Pen Boutique, so I'll put all of those links down below. I have discount codes for some of those stores as well, so feel free to use my affiliate code, and that would be really awesome. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.